I'm at Capitec headquarters shooting another episode of Bank on It with Nick Harris. Thank you so much for being on the show. So great to be here. Head of Financial Crime.
Yeah.
That is a big role and incredibly complex. Take me through your journey here at Capitec and what your day-to-day role looks like.
Fantastic. First of all, sometimes people get confused and they go, head of financial crime. I don't cause financial crime, I fight it.
Thanks for clarifying.
It's like anti-financial crime, I think is the most important
You're a good guy,
thing.
right?
We are the good
okay,
guys, right?
That's good.
I've been with Capitec for 3 years. I joined from ABSA Corporate Investment Bank, and Capitec approached me and said they got this fantastic role. And I thought to myself, where better to fight financial crime, which is my passion, than at Capitec, where we got the scale and the breadth to make a real significant difference in South Africa in fighting fin crime. So essentially my role's comprised of two hats. One hat, I fight fraud and scams and schemes and all those things, really protecting our clients' money and investments and that with us. And the other side, I also prevent people from abusing the banking systems as well from a money laundering perspective.
So Nick, you mentioned scale and breadth, right? And I really like that you mentioned that because you look at the numbers, you've got trillions of transactions and data points. How do you cut through all of that digital noise, all of those data points, so much going on to figure out these are the bad guys, this looks suspicious, these are red flags?
This technology, what we use from a financial crime perspective, has really been evolving, right? Particularly in the last 5 years, we've really been given an arsenal of tooling. And this is really the application of what we call in modern data science approaches, right? And the use of, I hate the word, right? It's a buzzword, AI, right? But let me break it down, like AI from a Capitec perspective, right? And really what we've been using is best-in-class algorithms to really spot what I call the proverbial needle in a haystack, right? So I'll give you a stat, right? Is that only 1 in 25,000 transactions is either fraudulent or money laundering, right?
Wow.
So in order to spot that, we use a combination of data points, understanding the client's profile, understanding who they're transacting with, understanding what would be normal for a client in our base, right? So we've trained some very specific data models to detect this kind of behavior, which then gets run on terms of our AWS infrastructure, which we then use to spot that needle in the haystack, and that gets surfaced to one of our fraud consultants and agents who looks and goes like, well, this looks dodgy, yes. First of all, if it looks like it's fraud, stop the account, manage it, try to track and trace the funds. If it's money laundering, then make a decision around what do we do with it. We obviously have to report it, it's the FIC, but really starting to track those and going like, well, what does this mean in the context? Why are they doing this? And starting to fight the laundering side as well.
Now listen, you've got an incredibly gifted team, a very large team, hundreds of people work here. You spend a ton in capital, hundreds of millions of rands on fraud specifically, and detecting all of these potentially criminal issues. How do you make sure you're proactive?
It's really important to understand that once that money goes, right, in the world of real-time payments and real-time clearing, it's so much more difficult chasing after the funds after they left there. So proactive is the only way we fight against this.
How do you detect as a client something is a scam or something isn't quite right? Because these scams are so sophisticated.
The first thing is that these fraudsters out there are exceptionally good at what they're doing, right?
Yeah.
And they use a technique, what we call social engineering, right? So they create the situation that gives you undue pressure, right? And that's the first red flag. If somebody's phoning you and saying, you need to do this now, you need to make a payment, you're going to lose an opportunity, and that kind of thing, take a step back, slow it down, think around it, because that actually activates your survival instincts. So their whole thing is to get you into panic mode, so you're not thinking logically around this. Now, you would think, okay, this has happened to people who doesn't have financial education. I promise you, I've dealt with doctors, engineers, and who have been defrauded, right, through these various means, right? So the first thing is looking for any situation where suddenly you get an unsolicited contact, there's high pressure for you to act on something, right? Slow it down, think, right? Phone a friend, right? And understand that. The second thing is that they create a sense of opportunity or a sense of potential loss, right? So either you go like, if I don't buy this cryptocurrency now, right, like you're going to lose out on the deal of a lifetime. You know, you could be making 50 million rand a month.
So greed and fear. Like
greed and fear.
Between
absolutely.
those two. Yeah.
It's primary human instinct, so greed and fear. So they're either going to play to both sides. Either you're going to go like, oh, this is great. And then underlying is trust, right? So, some of these scams, they can build trust over months of engagement, right? So they actually fatten up their victim and gain their trust, right? So it's the second thing is understanding that opportunity and that opportunity of greed and fear, right, that they will be playing on your emotions, and then to be able to go, okay, well, let me take myself out of the situation quickly. And would this be like, would a bank official phone me and tell me to do a cash send transaction? Yep. Would they tell me? And this is some of the real scenarios. I mean, we've had clients who are victims where the scammers managed to convince them that the only way to protect their money is to transfer their money from Capitec to another bank. So that's the one sort of bucket around very situational. You might get a phone call, might be somebody pretend to be SAPs. They found a package with your name on it with drugs in it, and that kind of thing. Then the second category is really what we call the opportunity side, which is, for example, the business email compromise you mentioned. So there you're dealing with a trusted party, you in a transaction, you're about to purchase a house, you're about to send your transfer duties to the estate agent to clear the funds for you. Their email gets compromised and you send it to a mule account, right? So that's the kind of situation. When you're making a payment, and it's as simple as making a first-time payment to someone you've never made a payment for, put a test transaction through. Pay them $10, phone the reception, say, hey, listen, I paid 10 Rand, tell me when it clears, and I'll pay the rest of the funds to you.
We're in an age with AI, robo-advisors, digital banking is completely taken over. How important is it for you to empower and enable the humans to almost work side by side with the machines to kind of get us to, this perfect place?
When you're a victim of a crime, right, and like you said, there's a bit of victim shaming and people are vulnerable in that time, I can promise you they don't want to talk to a robot, right? They want to talk to somebody on the other end of the line, right? So the human in the loop, particularly when it comes to these vulnerable situations, will always be important, right? What AI is going to equip us to do, right, is first of all, AI doesn't sleep. It doesn't miss transactions. It reads everything, right? Unfortunately, a fraud agent or an AML agent, their work that they do on a Monday may not be the same quality of work they do on a Friday. It's just human effort, right? Yeah. There are human errors, right? Where AI doesn't make that same issues, right? But it's only as good as the data it's trained on. Sure. But obviously there's an opportunity there. The second component is, I think, would lead to quicker, better, faster decisioning by the human in the loop, right? Because again, you don't want to basically put guard mode on your AI to make every single financial transaction a decision point, and that makes a decision. You want the human to be able to go like, okay, this doesn't make sense. Actually, you know what? They got a pension payout. You don't have to freeze that account, right? But maybe we need to send you some better guidance to say, please put that into a fixed term savings account, for example. The third thing for me from an AI perspective is that you're going to be able to process data a lot quicker and faster and serve up those insights on the client. So if I'm an agent and I'm looking at a client account knowing whether or not this is normal behavior, is it normal for you to pay R1 million at 12 o'clock at night? Probably not, right? Yeah. I can then take those order decisions and serve it up within 5 minutes to an agent and goes, hey, there's something wrong with this account, block, hold, get hold of the client. Could be a duress situation, something may have happened. I think the opportunity really is that to get human assistance to the next level, real time, be able to go through those reams of data, 6 month statements in seconds, tell you, hey, this is risky, not risky, and then be able to take those actions quicker, faster, and better.
Anything cool on your pipeline, anything coming up that we can look forward to in the
look, I think some of the stuff we're exploring is what we call graph databases, something I'm very passionate about. It's a new technology that looks at nodal connections between data, right? So what happens there is
like a spider web.
It's like a spider web, exactly. So you can imagine a network of laundering, right, or fraud, right? These things always happen in a network, right? And that technology helps us analyze the degrees of separation. So have you heard of the 3 degrees of separation?
Yes.
How far are you away from somebody who's doing bad stuff, right? We're finding phenomenal results with this. We're sharing this on an industry level because I think that is the way, to your point previously, on the network side and on the regulatory side, how we fight financial crime at scale as a country. The second component is really our fight against mule accounts and muling.
Got you.
So we've been developing very specific models to identify bad actor behaviors. We are really combating yearly at scale, which is bearing a lot of fruit. And it's that preemptive thing. So if I understand that you defrauding a whole bunch of people, right? If I stop your accounts and I'll prevent you from doing that, I stop one more victim in the back end, right, from falling victim to that.
Thank you so much for taking time on, Nick. And we'll keep really close to all the cool stuff that you're building.